Should be muted though.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. We're just going to wait a couple of minutes to get started to have other people be able to join the call. Since we've hit 10 o'clock, I think we'll go ahead and get started. First of all, for all of you joining, I just want to have you be aware that we are recording this so that we can share with others if they missed this opportunity. But welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today to learn more about our 2024 annual report and to allow us to answer any questions you may have about Community Food Share, who we are, where we're going. My name is Kim De Silva. I'm the CEO here at Community Food Share. I had the honor of taking over this role in October of 2019. And prior to that, I was at a sister food bank for 23 years. So this is my 29th year of food banking. And what a year it's starting out to be. I do have a handful of team members on this call, and I'm going to introduce some of the members now. And if you could maybe give a wave so people understand who you are or see your face. I see that we have Abby here, and Abby is, she oversees all our research and evaluation we do here at Community Food Share. So all the great stats and numbers and trends that we see, Abby leads the information gathering and distribution here. We have Kevin Peed. Kevin is our COO, so he's in charge of our operations and logistics here at Community Food Share. Sorry, I'm looking around. I'm going to introduce Christina Thomas, who is our Director of Marketing, and have her introduce her team members who are on the call.
Thanks, Kim. Let's see, we have Trevor Bossetti, who is our Senior Marketing Manager, and Aya Jaff, our Digital Marketing Coordinator.
Great, thank you, Christina. And then we have Kaylee Wagner, who is the Director of Philanthropy here at Community Food Share. So I'm going to have her introduce her team. If she can get off mute.
Technical difficulties. Sorry, team.
Hi, everyone. I have some wonderful team members on the call today. We have Terry Mast, who is our grants administrator. We have Vanessa, who does our major gifts work here, focused on building relationships. We have Stephanie, who is our donor services and database manager. Um, and I think those are our philanthropy friends on the call today. So we're really happy to be here with you.
Thank you so much, Kaylee. And I also see Adam Deal has joined the call, and he is our Director of Operations. So when all the food is coming in and coming out and all the logistics it takes, Adam and his team oversee all of the logistical areas as well here at Community Food Share. And I'm hoping I did not miss anybody. Did I miss any team members who are on this call as well? All right. And I have a lot of the team members on the call as well to help answer any questions. So as we go through this, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to raise your hand, put them in the chat. I want to make this as interactive as possible when we're talking through and addressing any questions that anybody may have. Great. So we'll just get started here and with our annual report from 2024. So the big overviews of, and big findings that we had this year were that we distributed over 13 million pounds of food, which is 11 million meals. And that is a trend of just serving more and more individuals than we ever have. More families and individuals have needed consistent access to food to really support themselves and their families throughout this past year. And we're seeing that as we're going into 2025, we're seeing that that trend just continues. So our food goes to about 60,000 individuals throughout Boulder and Broomfield County. And we distribute about 30 million meals a day. So that's just to give you a visual there. That's enough to feed everyone in a sold out Red Rocks amphitheater concert 3 meals a day. So it is a lot of people who are looking for support throughout Community Food Share and our partners. We rescue about 11 tons of food daily. So that's really food that would otherwise could go to waste. Working with our retailers to make sure that the food that we're getting is safely transported and distributed to our neighbors. And a lot of that retail food that we rescue is really high quality food. You're talking meats, proteins, dairies, things that are really hard to get donated, but things that our community really needs. And also when we're rescuing food, we prevent over 13,000 metric tons of CO2 emissions annually. So we are doing something great for our environment as well. And our volunteers, we had over 2,300 volunteers who helped us in our mission last year. And that is equivalent to 13 full-time staff and over 26,000 hours. So we really couldn't do what we do without our great volunteer support. And I do see that we have some volunteers on the call as well. So I just want to acknowledge and thank you for all the work you do. I'm going to turn it over to Kevin for a little bit to really talk through our biggest aspects of what we do, which is our direct service program, as well as our hunger relief network.
Great, thanks, Kim. Yeah, so with us being the Feeding America Food Bank within Boulder and Broomfield County, we would not be able to do what we do without the 42 partner agencies that we support and lift up on a daily basis. So, as I mentioned, 42 partner agencies without our two service areas. And these range, as small as small little church pantries all the way up to our big, larger family resource centers that we work with across the network. When we look at our food distribution, our partner agencies are really our bread and butter. So historically, 65 to 70% of our food that goes out our doors goes through to our partner agencies out into the communities. and individuals that we serve within our community. So if you look at that breakdown of this last fiscal year, just over 7.5 million meals. And then if you put a value to that, over $17 million worth of food went out into the community through our partner agencies. So we would not be able to do what we do without their continued support and effort and work that they put in on a daily basis to get those meals and that food into those communities and those individuals in our community. So on the kind of flip side of that, so direct distributions within our organization. So we have three different direct service programs that we operate here at CFS. Feeding Families is our largest, is our on-site pantry. So we run this 3 days a week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And last year, almost 3 million pounds of food went out through this program, which is incredible. We over year over year, that's almost a 15% increase from the year before. So, as some of you may have known volunteers that are here on a regular basis, we have seen a continuous regular increase in the services that we offer through Feeding Families since the start of the pandemic and all the way through to where we are currently, just based on the economical factors that our entire community is facing. So,
Yeah, one of the things that we did at Feeding Families to just really try to help spread out the immense need that we've been seeing is a reservation system for individuals who are accessing, neighbors who want to shop. They can actually go online and they can reserve a spot similar to what you would do at a restaurant, so that they don't have to wait in line for astronomical time. But they can come here and know that they have a time slot to shop for themselves and their families.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that, Kim. With the large increase that we've seen in visits before we implemented that system, we were seeing wait times for families upwards to an hour to sometimes 2.5 hours long to receive food. So that's been a huge positive for us in order to see more individuals on a daily basis and to cut down that wait time. So. The next direct service program that we're going to touch base on is our Blue Spruce Neighbors program. So this is our program that is really targeted towards those older adults, homebound seniors that most of the time are on fixed incomes, and more often disproportionately affected by inflation, right? So a lot of these individuals are living off Social Security and have a limited number of resources in which they have to access food. So we've seen an exponential growth in this program specifically. We've really tried to focus on getting food to those homebound seniors, people that don't have access to public transportation of their own, or just physically cannot get out of their home. So in FY24, over 300,000 pounds we distributed through this program. Over 10,000 visits and food deliveries, which was almost a 15% increase, and nearly 1,000 individuals served. A few years ago, I think the total number of individuals that were a part of this program, I think, was right around 350, 400 people, and we are approaching that 1,000 individual mark. So the need and the growth of this program has just continued to climb, and we are continuing to put time and energy and focus towards making sure that these seniors have access to not just food, but healthy and dietary specific food. We've really tried to put a lot of emphasis on some prepared meals and focus on those dietary restrictions that a lot of seniors are facing within our community, whether that be sugar-free, low sodium, things like that. And then our last direct distribution program, this is our mobile pantry program. So this is really us taking food from our warehouse and going into those locations in our community where individuals might not have great access to other resources, other partner agencies that we work with. So we're really trying to set up a mobile market and allow community members to come in and utilize these pantries as kind of a stopgap until they can get more resources, whether it's through community food share at another distribution or through our partner agencies. Looking on the screen, you can see the number of pounds we distributed. Nearly 700,000 pounds went out through this program last year, with over 16,000 visits and food deliveries. As we've continued to talk, just about the increase that we've seen through not just our partner agencies, but our direct distribution programs. This one has seen an increase as well, nearly 110% increase year over year. We're starting to recognize that our mobile pantries really are a lifeline for a lot of individuals within the community. And especially with, the distribution times and the flexibility that we have to kind of mold and shape to the needs that we're seeing within our service area. Distribution numbers have gone increasingly high, and as we look to the future, we're really trying to take a look at this program and see how we can still meet the need, but also just focus on the continued gaps in service that we're seeing through our research and data that we're gathering.
Kevin, if I can add, so Kevin just spoke to us about our three, in-house direct distribution programs that saw that 72% increase from 2 fiscal years. And I love the numbers. They tell a story. They're very important. And also, I try and bring myself back and will offer this to the team here, that the individuals that we get to serve and come into community food share or we go out to really are a part of our community. So when our neighbors are coming into feeding families, and many of our wonderful volunteers on this call know this, I've had the opportunity to kind of crouch down and chit chat with little kiddos and, be there when they're picking out a book in our lobby before their parents get to shop for food to put on their table. I've had a volunteer recently tell the story of one of our neighbors coming in, really trying to find the ingredients or something like a birthday cake for her daughter. And she was able to get that here. And how some of our delivery drivers through our Blue Spruce program have become fast friends of the neighbors that they are delivering to. And so while it's important that we share, that we are seeing this exponential rise in need, we're also still really creating those relationships, and it is this community-based operation here. So just another layer of context.
I think that's great, Kaylee. I think one of the things that being in operations, it's that fine line of transactional versus collaborative, right? Recognizing that the need is there, and we are doing our very best to meet that need. But just a kind of a gently daily reminder that outside of the metrics and the pounds and the numbers, that that we are human just like our community members, and to be able to have that personal connection, I think has been huge across all of our direct distribution programs, as Kaylee just mentioned. Those opportunities for our staff and the people of this organization to be able to make those connections with the neighbors in which we serve.
So the next program that we've run here for years at Community Food Share is our Community Roots program, which many of our community members know through Grow a Row, which is where we ask community members to really plant an extra row of vegetables or fruits during the growing season, and to donate that to Community Food Share so that we can get it back out, because really that fresh produce that has been not had to be transported long or held long in a storage facility has really been great. Over the past couple of years, we've also done our own farming. We had a generous donor who gave us land that we could farm on over the past couple of years to really grow items in which community members were asking for. And it's been a really great program for all of us. I will say that this year we're putting a halt on the farming for the season as we try to figure out what is the best route for community food share when it comes to farming. How can we better partner with some of the other organizations that are already doing farming? How can we better support local agriculture by maybe putting some money into their farms to help create crops for us? So this program, though we've done over 14,000 pounds of food last year, and it's a really great program where volunteers love to get their hands dirty. If you are one of those volunteers, please know that we are working with Growing Gardens. Is that the correct name? Sorry.
Earth's Table.
Earth's Table. To help volunteers who want to work at farms. We're going to partner with them to get some locations where individuals can still put their hands in the dirt and help create some food for our partner agencies. So I am going to turn this part over to Kaylee to talk about our beautiful, wonderful donors. And but I do want to say that it does not go unnoticed that when you donate to Community Food Share, that we are the stewards of your donations. So the idea that you put your trust in us to best meet the needs of our community does not go unnoticed, and we are so grateful for that each and every day. But I'll turn it over to Kaylee to talk a little bit more about that.
Thanks, Kim. And Kim, I think hit it right on the head, of course, of what a gift it is to, I think, and for my team members who are on the call, they can giggle because I probably say this too often, but my favorite definition of philanthropy is love of man. And so, getting to be in this position where me, my team, all of Community Food Share, we have this really beautiful opportunity to not only empower our neighbors who are receiving our immediate services, but we also get to serve in this bridge position of being that connection point of other community members who care and love very deeply about their neighbors. And they, look to that conduit of supporting this mission to make those connections. So it's a really special position to be in. Kim also mentioned the incredible amount of hours that our volunteers come in and are in the warehouse, are at our distributions, are helping get food ready to be delivered to our many partner agencies to be distributed even more locally. We take the word community and Community Food Share pretty seriously. And I also say this a lot of, and it's a cliche and it's a true one of we could not do this without you and those who support us. You heard on this call, we're hearing every day more stories of, how important this work is of, our aging neighbors having to make difficult decisions between, critical and expensive medication or more nourishing foods, or, a child whose most reliable meal is from school and, needing to find access otherwise. While at the same time being told many stories of joy and celebration that, our volunteers, our staff members, our donors who support this work are able to foster. It's really special. And when folks support this work, It really does make the difference in terms of, full plates and full hearts. So we're extremely grateful for all those who support our work in any capacity. And knowing that we take the stewardship of your generous support, be it time, talent, treasure, very seriously. So thank you all for being here and for being a part of our community.
Thank you, Kaylee. So I'm going to go over some notable achievements that we've had, but I use this word, the word achievements in providing more food out to the community. It is an achievement that we were able to keep up with the demand, but it is not an achievement that we need to be here to support our community. When I started 29 years ago, fresh out of college, first job at a food bank, I truly, coming from that lens of in the next 30 years, we'll have this figured out. And in the country of America, we will not have people who are struggling to feed themselves and their families. And throughout the evolution of these past 3 decades, it's become really clear in terms of what it means to be food insecure. And what it really means to be food insecure is that the root causes of what are causing you and your families to come through here are so much bigger than just food. It's about, we are here to support our safety net of Boulder and Broomfield County of housing is extremely high. And when housing is high, you only have so much money at the end of the month for groceries, or if your medications are high. So as I go through this, knowing that, we averaged over 1 million pounds of food each month, which was something that we never thought we'd ever have to see, that we had 1.3 million pounds of food in April 2024 alone, record high numbers in November of 2023, and a 53% increase. What this really shows is the extreme strain that's being put on our nonprofit friends across our community and trying to fill the gap of individuals who are just not able to self-sustain without support of either food, housing, heat, or all of that together. So I feel very honored, as I've said before, to be in this work. And throughout the last 30 years, there's been some great evolutions in food banking. From everything from when I started, it was about a calorie was a calorie. As long as we could get the most food in and the most food out, we'd be doing our community a service. To let's really think about how food and nutrition play a role into the community. And when we have nutrition going into our community, we are helping our community members thrive. We're helping kiddos not focus on how hungry they are during the lunchtime or when they're going to school. And when we really take a look at food as medicine, the more food, healthy food we can get into somebody who's gone through an illness or gone through a sickness and help sustain them to get healthier, the better our community is, the stronger our community is, the more resilient our community is. So, I feel the work that our team has done has been phenomenal in achieving all of these milestones. But there's so much more work to be done. And I work with Feeding Colorado on a statewide level, as well as Feeding America on a national level, to really dig into how can we best make sure that food programs are not at risk at any time, and that we have the support and sustain we need while trying to educate and uplift the voices of those we're serving, to tell the story of why they're here. So that's, one of the really important aspects of food banking and its evolution as well. Financial activity. Here's our statement of financial activity. The biggest thing about food banking in terms of when we think about it, we are, our core competency is really that we can procure food at mass and collaborate with partners within the community to get that out to individuals in need. So really, when you look at non-cash expenses and donated food income, that is the value of all of the food that is donated that comes through our warehouse and through our facility. So if you think about it, without this mass, and about 80% of our food to 85% of our food is indeed donated. And without that food, there would be no way that we could do anything to the scale that we're doing currently. And then when you look at our cash budget, our cash subtotal is about our expenses are a little over 7 million as our income. And just to give a little overview, that is almost tripled from what it was prior to the pandemic. And a lot of that has to do with the scale up that we've had to do to help meet the need with our community, as well as just the cost of purchasing food. We're purchasing about 11% of our food, 10 to 11%. And freight costs have gone up astronomically, as well as when you're looking at, the freight costs as well as the cost of food alone. And then on the other side of the screen, we have a great board of directors who helps guide and really be thought partners with us throughout the year as we think about where we are and where we want to be. So we have also a listing of all of our board members. I'm going to pivot for a minute. There's a couple of questions in the chat. One of them from Marilyn of, are participants required to apply for SNAP if they are eligible? Are all participants at least informed of SNAP and given help in applying? So this is great. So Marilyn, no, they are not required to apply for SNAP. We do not, one of the differences of our food banks is that we have services and referrals. So we do have on-site SNAP assistant coordinators. So everybody who comes here to access food knows that they are, we have people on staff who can help them through the entire SNAP process. But not everybody chooses to do so. And some of that is something we've talked about on a statewide basis too, of just the, there is a kind of individuals who don't apply for SNAP. It's usually something to do with their feeling like they're not worthy of it and that they'd rather somebody else have it. So a lot of what we do is try to knock down those perceptions. SNAP funds are available, and we want everybody who's eligible for SNAP funds to receive SNAP funds, because that makes the economy stronger here. It makes less stress on our food safety network, but we have a great team of individuals here who are SNAP coordinators and get the word out and work to enroll individuals every day. And then a question from Bill, how reliant is community food share on grants that come directly or indirectly from the federal government? Well, this was a great question. As you can probably imagine, on Monday, we were all a little taken aback by an administration memo of a freeze of federal funds. So we do get contributions through the state of Colorado that are federal funds, mostly for reimbursement on some food purchases that we do. One of the things that we are very thankful for is that we are not solely reliant on government funding. The majority of our funding comes through individuals, private foundations, corporations, and that is really the bulk. But last year we received, I want to say in the ballpark of $1.5 million from federal funds that came through the state. This year it's a little lower. We're expecting to get somewhere right around $1 million from federal. And we are hoping that the lift in that memo that went out on Monday allows us to continue with the reimbursements. Is there another slide, Trevor, or is this? Okay, perfect. Oh, this is the end of the annual report, per se. But I also do want to, Christina, Thomas, and Abby and myself have been working on, we're starting a project to relook at our mission, vision, and values at Community Food Share. Yeah, when who we are at 2019, in essence, is who we are, but how have we evolved throughout the pandemic and throughout my time here? And we really want to take a look at when we're saying, what is our mission? What is our vision? What are the values that we hold together with our community? And what are our shared values? This is a discussion that we've just started having, and we are having some focus groups. So we'll be inviting individuals to focus groups to kind of help us through some of this um, um, kind of discovery as we move forward. And so if you're interested in joining one of those focus groups, please let Christina, let myself know, put it in the chat. Otherwise, we will be sending out invitations through email as well. So feel free to sign up for one, because the more voices we have, the more collaboratively we can come together and create our missions. I'm going to answer some more questions over here. One from Molly. How much do you rely on TFAP, and is that at risk given the latest communication? So we do receive TFAP food, and government commodities is about 10% of our overall distribution. The TFAP food right now is in the Farm Bill, and that Farm Bill has been approved through 2025 through this year. So one of the things that we, as part of Feeding America has offices on the Hill at the Capitol, and their number one goal is to make sure that commodity foods are not cut. I would say more than the food, and this is, I'm going to have a caveat saying this is all evolving every day, every minute. More than the actual food, our concern is more around the reimbursement costs that food banks get for handling that food. And Kevin, I've seen you come off a little bit. I don't know if you wanted to.
Yeah, I was gonna mention a few things. So it's actually less than 10%. It's about 6 or maybe 5 or 6%. So it makes up a really small portion of our distribution. And yeah, as Kim mentioned, the food itself is not really affected by the recent memos and things that have come down from the federal government, as she mentioned, that's attached to the Farm Bill that's in place till the end of October of this year. So yeah, and just in terms of food coming in and going out of our warehouse, that's not really something that we are focused on or feel is going to be affected at this time.
Thank you. We had another question from Peg. Hi, Peg. I have heard from various agencies that Boulder County significantly reduced the amount of funds to local agencies. Yes, that has affected us as well. That is true. I will say that Boulder County has been a very great partner and continues to be a very great partner of Community Food Share. And they have held many meetings about why the reduce in funding. And I may get this a little bit wrong in terms of how I'm saying it, but the essence of that is that when there was excess money, state money that other counties or states did not utilize, Boulder County would actually go in and apply for that funding. So we actually had a lot of funding come our way that was because of excess monies that other counties did not use. That rule has gone away, so they can no longer apply for excess dollars. And I think that is a recent change. And so that has also stretched their dollars. So they are working really hard at trying to be very strategic and intentional on how funding is spread out throughout the community. Also realizing that our community, our nonprofits are stretched beyond to a level we've never seen before. Thank you, Molly, for offering to be in the group, and Joella for your thanks. We appreciate that so much. But we're here to answer any other questions. Oh, sorry. And then I'm going to turn this over to some recent updates and our path forward. So when we really take a look at where we are and where we're going, I'm going to turn it over to Kaylee with some of our end of year opportunities or fundraising and successes. Sorry. I lost my script to the right. I sometimes go off script.
Not you, Kim. No. Peg, to just add to Kim's answer as well around Boulder County's support and that excess that she mentioned that we no longer have access to. Just looking at our current fiscal year and government grants specifically, the team has done a phenomenal job in, really fostering those relationships, and we're very grateful for Boulder County and Broomfield County and all of the city municipalities that are a part of. While we would love to receive extra governmental granting to, have additional funds to support neighbors. We're in a place that is actually above what was budgeted as our goal for that specific line. And so we're holding in balance what Kim shared around a lot of flux within that more local funding, but also being really intentional about how we can expand those partnerships and think about additional opportunities within that space while acknowledging that that funding that has been a bit reduced. We're very excited as we look to the summer. We'll, officially be launching. So this is some fun early insider community information. Our first summer matching campaign. So we have a very generous set of individuals who are putting forth a pool of money that we'll share the exact number later, that they will be matching dollar for dollar. In this campaign, we're calling Fuel Their Summer, and it's really focused on, how do we ensure that we can let kids be kids during the 83 days of school being out, because we know while we like to take a summer break, hunger does not. And so a lot more forthcoming around ways in which you can get involved, and we hope that you do. But we're doing a lot of planning currently on ensuring that, the more than 7,000 kids that we serve will have access to nourishing foods, when oftentimes access to school meal programs is either harder to get to or goes away. So stay tuned, but we're very excited we can focus in this way.
Anybody have any questions that we can answer for you? Does any other team member have anything they'd like to talk about?
I thought it might be interesting for donors to know that in our current fiscal year, the quarter that just ended, we've seen a 32% increase in the number of unduplicated households who came through our direct distribution programs over the second quarter of the previous year. So we're continuing to see that same growth, and if our current trends continue, we forecast that continued growth of about 35% in our direct distribution programs. And our partners typically see that same growth patterns. So we do expect continued growth in need in our area.
Thank you, Abby. Yeah, Abby's been really great in her team about really giving us as up to date and accurate information as possible, which has been really great because it's really hard to capture a community and when individuals and look at trends of when individuals are using us once or twice a year versus when are they using us every month or twice a month. And so those are really important things for us to know, especially when we're going and talking to legislators, Congress, to individuals to say, listen, this is what we're seeing. So things need to change, and then we look at who can we partner with to be a voice for that change. And so when I started in food banking, it was truly emergency food assistance. What we would see is individuals would just use us maybe 2 to 5 times a year at the end of the month, traditionally, when their paycheck was running down and they needed to supplement. And what we are seeing, and that came after 2008 when we had the recession of 2008. What we saw then is that our community was using us as a sustainable food option for themselves and their family. And that has just continued. And throughout the pandemic, as you knew, there were a lot of pandemic programs in place that were helping individuals and families sustain themselves. And when those all went away, we saw that huge increase again. And not only, as Abby mentioned, here at Community Food Share, but for all of our partners and everybody who's doing great work in the nonprofit community, in this community and across the country as well.
Peg, another great question around Colorado Gives Day. And I'll also let Christina layer in any additional information here. But we had one of our strongest years since 2021 in response to the Colorado Gives Day campaign this year. So thank you to all who supported that specific campaign. And we are very grateful for the matching funds that we do receive from the foundation. In terms of, is it better for donors to give directly or during other matching programs? There's a lot of ways to answer that one. And it's really, it comes down to, you know, the donor and the way in which they want to support the community. So we're excited that we'll be able to offer more matched opportunities in this coming calendar year from our upcoming summer campaign, as well as one in the holiday season that will be separate from Colorado Gives Day. So if you love a match, we have a few opportunities. But, you know, we want to ensure, as I was kind of talking about at the beginning of this call, that, you know, we can best play that bridge and connector position to ensure that when you're giving, you feel really good about it. And so if, you know, you want to continue that conversation, Peg, or anyone around, you know, what excites you the most and how we can ensure that your generosity, you know, goes the farthest, which is always happy to have that conversation.
Well, with no other questions, I just want to thank everyone, you know, for engaging in this town hall, for engaging with Community Food Share. As Kaylee has said before, any touch point that you have, whether it's volunteering, giving time, treasure, talents, it is so appreciated, not only by this organization, but by those we serve. You know, one of the great things Abby does is, and you saw a snippet of some of those in the annual report, is she collects neighbor feedback. And some of the beautiful things in which our neighbors say about the services we provide and the services our partners provide, that is all because of the generosity of the community and the community coming together. So I would really just echo the extreme thanks from our community to you all, and just to stay engaged in the best way and in the way that's most important to you and to your family. We'll have lots of volunteer opportunities. We have upcoming events, giving initiatives. You'll see them all. You can go online. You can contact any of us in person. You can look for our newsletters that come out. We try to keep our community always informed. And if you're ever concerned or there's any questions that you have, reach out. We're always here. We're happy to talk with the community and talk through anything, any concerns, any just thoughts that you have. It's great for us to be connected that way. So thank you. We appreciate you all so much, and so great to see so many faces today.